Hey guys, I just wanted to show you a project in my portfolio. It's called Sprout Spot. It's my fourth year capstone project and it took me 8 months to complete. I'm really excited to show you guys the whole process, so let's jump right into it. Okay, so here we are on my website and it's this project right here. So a really brief overview of this project. Sprout Spot is a 3D printed seed germination and educational system for the remote First Nations island of Haida Gwaii, which is in BC in Canada. And the real focus on this project was a social design and cross-cultural collaboration between me and the students and teachers at GTN Secondary School, which is a high school in a town called Masset, right near the top of the island. And what I really learned from this project was to distill meaning from observation and conversations. I also learned how to communicate and collaborate with students and conduct informative, collaborative, and engaging design workshops. This was such an amazing experience, and I'm just so excited to share it with you guys. So I do have an old video that kind of explains the process, but I wanted to give you guys a new one today. So let's talk a little bit about Masset and some of the opportunities that Sprout Spot addresses. So Masset is a really remote island in BC and they have quite poor growing conditions. It's really rainy, it ranges from 2 to 15 degrees all year round, so it's not suitable for growing an abundant amount of food. So the first opportunity that this project addresses is food sovereignty. So the island really relied extensively on imported food so that their residents could survive. And essentially, the food would show up half rotten and it would be extremely expensive. So I thought if I could allow the students at the school to be in control of the food that they grow and eat, it would have the most impact. And we're also starting at the seed. So I thought if I could germinate seeds, it'd be a lot easier to import seeds rather than live plants, and the students can learn and grow with the plants too. The second opportunity is local manufacturing. So I want the island to be completely in control of this system. So I thought that if they could manufacture the device, even in a classroom through 3D printing and sewing, they could not rely on any supply chains, they can be in complete control, and they don't need anyone else to help them. And the third opportunity that this project addresses is educational engagement. I'll talk a lot more about this later because I really learned a lot when I traveled to the island in 2022. It was just such an amazing experience. So to start it off, my group and I conducted intense research. So for 4 months, we looked at the demographics, cultural values, the climate, local plants and animals, the language, traditions, and the heritage of the island. So we really had to immerse ourselves and really figure everything out so we can best design for our clients. This is also where we established a relationship with the students and the teachers at the school. So we started doing weekly Zoom meetings so we could give them updates on our project, ask them questions, and collaborate together. Here I started to develop some self-watering systems. So I wanted to use fabric cups so that the students who are always on the go and really busy can have a self-watering device. So in case they forget or they didn't check on their plants that one day, the plants wouldn't die. So I started by looking at different shapes, just using some really rough models here. And then I moved into experimenting with different materials. So I tested cotton, hemp, and wool. The wool was the best because it absorbed the most amount of water. I even germinated some sage plants, and I have the water meter there to test how wet the soil is. And then I also did some lettuce. Just look at all the plants there. The cups eventually evolved into these sleeves, which I think are really, really cool because it's about 4 pouches in each sleeve, and you can grow a lot more plants, and it's a lot less work because you're not cutting out each pouch. And then I moved into some VR prototyping. So I've been using Gravity Sketch since 2019, and it's been a really amazing tool because I can just pull shapes out of thin air in VR. So I'll put my goggles on, hop in, and really just experiment with different forms and different shapes. It's a lot quicker than modeling by hand, and you can really immerse yourself in one-to-one scale with all of the different shapes and configurations. So I wanted to take a systems-based approach because I thought if they have the device, I have to think also about how the device will be stored and how it will be configured in a classroom or the greenhouse, which I'll talk about in a second. So up until this point, I had only been focused on the efficiency of plant germination, which was good, but when I actually traveled to the island, everything changed. So here I have some photos of our time at the island. So this is me conducting my design workshop with the students, and I was explaining to them about 3D printing, telling them about the progress of my project, and I really wanted to hear the stories that they had to say. So everything kind of shifted when a student wished she could grow pet strawberries in her room. Now, a case of strawberries was $16, so she didn't really get to eat them frequently, even though they were her favorite fruit. So this story really stuck with me. Additionally, even though my classmates and I and my professors were visiting the island for a week, and the students had a bunch of new faces to interact with, they weren't showing up to class. So I saw that there was a real need for educational engagement. And I thought, even though I had conducted all of this research beforehand, this is something that I needed to be there in the context to see. It would have been impossible to research before. So I'm so glad that we went on this trip and I pivoted my design accordingly. Here is some of the results from our design workshop, and it was just so amazing to get the students' feedback and just have some fun. We took a tour of the school, so they actually have a greenhouse, and I thought that if my system could be used in conjunction with what they already have, then I could have an even greater impact. Here I am on the beach. The winds were so intense, and the sand and the rocks were all black, which I thought was really neat. I never saw that before. Here we are looking at one of their ports. More pictures of the beach. And we went on a really cool nature walk and really got to learn more about their culture in a lot of detail. Yeah, we hiked up to the top of this mountain. It was so cool. Unfortunately, the trip had to come to an end, and this is where I returned to the studio and updated the sort of progress of my project. So I wanted to shrink the device down, make it more portable to extend the learning environment beyond the confines of a classroom, like how that student told me her story. I thought I should really incorporate that in. So here I am kind of making a toolbox-sized device just out of cardboard, really getting the form and thinking about a transplanting tray so that the students can take the plants out of the device easier and move them into the greenhouse. And let's go back here. I settled on this form, this sort of pentagon shape, because it can still open when it's docked on a docking station. So that way the students can check on the plants without having it to take off of the rack. Then I developed some 3D printed prototypes of the germination environment, and this increased humidity and just accelerated plant growth like crazy. And here you can see the updated seed sleeve with the dirt inside and with the handles to help for carrying. And this is sort of my final prototype. So you can actually see it behind me there. and I'll show you it more in detail. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's just so super cool. And let me talk about the seed sleeve for a sec. So the wool material automatically absorbs all of the water. So the soil and plant inside stays hydrated all the time. And a really cool phenomenon as well from using this fabric material is root pruning. So when the roots reach the air, because the fiber is porous, when the roots reach the air, they stop growing. And then they start creating more dense root clusters, which actually helps increase plant hardiness and reduces overall growing time. So it speeds the whole process up. You can see the light inside. So this environment has everything that the plant needs to grow and thrive. So here's a cross section of how everything works. You have the water reservoir in the bottom here with the seed sleeves in the transplanting tray and the light on top. I also have the handle and the latch at the front to lock it in place, so that way when they're carrying it to and from school, it's just a lot more easier. And you can see the unique sort of pentagon shape I had mentioned before. And to continue the systems-based approach, I had come up with this docking station that can be installed in the classroom as well. It has the power jacks so that the devices can stay on and growing the plants. And to wrap it up, I have this little illustration of the students walking from school to home to get their friends and family involved in the growing process and to give them a sense of responsibility so that they can look forward to their future. They are also walking by and see the fairies that they once so heavily relied on in the background, but they no longer need that because they have Sprout Spot. So this project was really amazing, and it really taught me how design can be used to impact people's lives. I really hope that work that I do in the future impacts people's lives as well. Let me show you the prototype in action. Okay, so here's the model, and you can open it up, and you'll see the transplanting tray and the seed sleeve inside. You can even see the light in the top there. Here's the back of the device. You can see where the device would interface with the docking station. And here is the seed sleeve. You can see that there's the 4 pouches in the one sleeve, and it's super simple to assemble. You just sew the edges and then create those cup shapes. Then you can punch or cut the holes in between and put your soil and the seeds inside. Okay, so that's it. That's my walkthrough of Sprout Spot. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon.